The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's June the 24th, 2026. I'm Gary Furman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, flying solo today as we discuss the news of the day. And today we got a little bit of a special show for you guys. We roll out our winner of our GOAT vote contest that we've been running all summer. And, you guys on CaneSport.com have been following it, participating in it. We had positional votes throughout the summer. Quarterback Ken Dorsey won over Cam Ward. Running back Edgerrin James won over Willis McGahee. Michael Irvin won over Andre Johnson at receiver. Jeremy Shockey ran away with tight end. Bryant McKinney ran away with offensive line. Jerome Brown bested Warren Sapp in the defensive line vote. Ray Lewis over Dan Morgan at linebacker. Ed Reed over Sean Taylor at defensive back. And then Carlos Huerta and Devin Hester won at kicker and kick returns. And so we went through that process, and then we had head-to-head votes to narrow it down to two guys, and we ended up with Michael Irvin and Ed Reed in the final two head-to-head, and Michael Irvin won the final vote to be proclaimed as the GOAT of Miami football. So we got a special treat for you today. We were able to sit down with Michael and talk about being named the GOAT of Miami football. And, of course, when you sit down and talk to Michael, you're going to talk about a lot of other things as well. And it really was a sensational interview. I hope you guys have time to watch the entire thing. It's about 28 minutes long. You will not be sorry. It's Michael Irvin raw. It's Michael Irvin great. The way that only he can do it. So I hope you enjoy this special edition of Good Morning CaneSport this morning. And without further ado, here's our Michael Irvin interview. We are thrilled to be joined now by the playmaker himself, or maybe we should be calling him the GOAT. And that's, of course, legendary Michael Irvin. And Mike, we decided to have some fun this summer. You know what the dog days of summer are like. So we were sitting around and said, you know what? Let's figure out who the true GOAT of Miami Hurricanes football is. And, obviously the history is long and heralded. And so we came up with a unique way of doing it. We broke it down by positions, and we had votes for every position. And Ken Dorsey won over Cam Ward at quarterback, and Edgerrin James won over Willis McGahee at running back, and Shockey ran away with tight end. McKinney ran away with O-line. Jerome Brown blew away Warren Sapp on the defensive line, and Ray Lewis beat Dan Morgan at the end at linebacker. Ed Reed over Sean Taylor at DB, and Carlos Huerta at kicker, and Devin Hester, of course, as the kick returner. The receiver competition now, we expect it to be legendary, okay? Like, let's face it, you got fellow Hall of Famer Andre Johnson there, Reggie Wayne, Santana Moss. You could go on and on and on. Those pretty good dudes have played wide receiver for Miami through the years. Michael, you blew it away, man. It's like against those other guys, you got 55.7% of the vote in the first go round. Andre got 29.7. Okay, and then it went down from there. Santana had 5%, and Will down from there. So what we did was then we took the position winners, Mike, and we pitted them against each other head to head. Okay, and in the next round, you were put up against Jeremy Shockey, and you got 95% of vote head to head against Jeremy Shockey. Okay, so now we're in the final four. All right, and here's where your real competition came to the forefront. You were pitted against Edgerrin James. Okay, in a head-to-head
bad
vote.
Man,
and man, you got 83% of the vote, Mike. 83% against Edgerrin James, who's also a fellow Hall of Famer, as you know. So now we brought us to the finals. You against Ed Reed, okay, who also is a Hall of Famer. So, we got a lot of Hall of Famers here going head-to-head against each other. And it was you against Ed Reed in the final vote, and you captured 65% of the vote in that one, which allows us, without any doubt whatsoever to proclaim you the GOAT of Miami Hurricanes football. Your thoughts?
Mm. And let me do my acceptance speech here because
Yeah,
this
there you
is,
go. There you
in
go.
all seriousness, this is all seriousness. There have been plenty of things that I've stood on top of and were able to say I'm champion. Standing on top of this mountain and saying champion in this realm is a whole nother world. Now, I'm going to accept it because it's what the people voted.
That's right.
But I'm not going to say that would have been the way I voted this thing. You get what I'm saying? And honestly, there are just so many other exterior things that I think is coming into this present vote. This is not just purely on football ability, because if it was on football ability, I wouldn't have won the receiver category. Football ability alone, the best, greatest wide receiver to ever put on a pair of pads from the University of Miami. I don't even know if I could say it that way. I would have to even break it down. The greatest wide receiver may really have been Eddie Brown. Now, the greatest talent, ain't no doubt, man, stop it, is Andre Johnson. Everybody stop. Every damn body stop. You know what I'm saying? I tell Andre when we're at the Hall of Fame each year, gee, I said, look around this room, dog. We all be sitting in there. We all take a University of Miami picture together, all of us, and we're talking about who's coming next, and I always tell Dre, because I was the one that put the jacket on Dre's back Friday night, the jacket ceremony. You get to pick which Hall of Famer you want to put the jacket on your back. You course he picked me, and I was so thrilled to do it. I was thrilled to do it because I was like, any parent that's worth anything always wants to work as hard as they can work and raise it up as high as they can. But they want their kids to step on their ceiling, but make it your floor. Start here and go higher. And Andre Johnson, I remember when I first saw Andre come around the corner and they were telling me, Michael, we think we found the next Michael Irvin. And he hit the corner. Gee, when I saw that joke come around, I said, oh, oh, oh. And then he told me he ran like a 4.3. I was like, what? He was like, nice to meet you. You had a deep voice. I was, man, listen. So I appreciate that from the people. I really do. I appreciate it because that is a class among class. We joke about it all the time. When we're together, guys, we have this argument all the time. Who's the greatest living hurricane? Between me, Ed, Ray, Ed, we be yell out, hollering. So I appreciate you guys settling this for me. I'm gonna put this up in their face, right? Because I'm nowhere near. Out of all the guys we mentioned, I guarantee you, physical skill set, I probably rank the lowest.
Oh,
As
man.
physical talent. Now, determination, heart, and we start talking about will, things change. Things change. And again, I thought the NBA showed a great example of this, and we just saw yesterday, speaking of Miami, another great example. What I mean by this, I'm gonna talk about this on my own stuff here later. Later, when you're playing in team sports, there's an element, there's a skill to it with skill, but there's also a collective will. And we always try to go find greatness by getting the best player so we can have the best skill instead of taking an approach about getting the right player so we can have the greatest collective will. And I think that's what the New York Knicks just showed the world, right? The New York Knicks was not the greatest talented team, but they won it all because of the way they played together, coming from Villanova together, being so great friends together. And I thought with Miami and the big Giannis trade that they just made, the big Giannis trade in Milwaukee getting Tyler Hero, I think they're trying to say, we're going to take that approach, bring him back home and put some young guys around him. And let's see if we can get a great will of a team. And you know, that way we can beat those great teams with great skill, but not the collective will. I'm telling you, that's the difference between team sports that we're learning. We're learning because I am not physically gifted. I'm the least physically gifted, but I know more about bringing guys together than any of them, or all of them put together.
Yes, you do, for without question. But I will tell you this, and you know, we're getting older, Mike. I've been covering Miami football for 45 years, okay? And I was there the first day that you walked onto Green Tree practice field. And I will tell you this in all complete honesty, there have been two guys in the 45 years that I've been around this program that the first day they walked onto Green Tree, you just knew that there was going to be greatness attached to them as they went forward in their career. You were the first. The second was Ray Lewis. And just, you know, it's just something that you saw. So like, you're very humble and that's great. But it's more than just, you know, what you're talking about. And yes, the intangibles without question have a lot to do with it. But you talk about Andre, and he's obviously, yes, very, very gifted or whatever.
That's a freak of
But he
nature.
doesn't have your personality, Mike.
Right. And that's the thing. That's what because when I'm at the Hall of Fame, I tell Dre, I said, Dre, look around. Stop messing around. And I said, Dre, oh, there's Troy Aikman over there. And maybe we have Jerry Rice. I said, there's Steve Young and Joe Montana. You know what I mean? So everybody in there, every other receiver have their quarterback in there. I said, Dre, that's how bad you are. You in here, and your quarterback, if he came near here, we're going to put him in jail. We're going to put him in jail. All his quarterbacks will go straight to jail if they just drove by Canton, Ohio. That's how great Andre is, man. So, yeah, I do appreciate it, though. I appreciate that.
But when you were making plays out there, everybody knew it because you made sure everybody knew it. Yeah. Andre wasn't totally like that. You know, so maybe he, you know, maybe not. He didn't get his just due, but he did end up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that's pretty damn good. I wanted to ask you a couple things. Like, you know, you've always felt like amazing adoration from the fans everywhere you go to this day. Your presence is felt. You know, you walk into a stadium where the Hurricanes are playing and all eyes are on Michael Irvin. And, you know, what has that meant to you now all these years later?
And honestly, G, that's everything. That's everything. And for me, these last few years, it's so funny how things work. And then sometimes, you know, Bishop preached at one time called this sermon called Stirring the Nest. Talks about how the eagle teaches the eaglets to fly. And the eagle, the mother, doesn't want to hurt the bird, but sometimes, you know, they make the nest real bad so you can't get comfortable, and then they just jump out the nest. And as they're flying, flopping and falling, she'll scoop them before they hit the ground. If they don't learn in that trip, put them back in the nest, stir it again, and she tries it again. And then they'll finally get it, you know? And man, for me, like, I remember when I was working at the network, and it was, you know, I enjoyed working at the network. But the last couple of years, I decided when we decided I'm leaving the network, let's move on, do your own thing, it's time. And Jerry Jones and I talked about all of this. It was time. I said, okay, cool. And it was hard for me. But what it did, it was open up my Saturdays. Remember, I wanted to be in Miami so many times. Even when my son was playing there, I wanted to be, and I couldn't. But this opened up my Saturdays. And then I started showing up there Saturday. And it was like, I get something Sunday showing up on TV, because we can't play it anymore. The best you can do is just try to be around it. I get something Sundays when I'm showing up on TV, but it don't compare to what I get Saturdays when I'm out there with them jokers. Dog, I've been so tired Saturday night, like I done played a game. Boy.
You are, man. You're like dripping when you leave those games.
Dripping sweat.
I got a couple.
Hey, I be dripping sweat, dude. Look at that. And I be telling them, man, let me tell you what I be trying to make these kids know, because I've run the race, man. I tell them, I'm telling y'all about this in form of history. But I'm telling you early enough where you can write your history like you want to write your history and write the rest of your life like you want to write the rest of your life. When I run in that huddle 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, we're behind a touchdown or behind 6 points, and we're mounting this comeback. Dude, you know what I'm telling them? I say, I want y'all to see this. I know y'all think, y'all see all of these people, everybody's on there. I said, I know you think this is just a game. I know you think it's just a game, but this is not just a game. Games like this determine how you live the rest of your life. When you win here, we win in life. When we come up short here, we come up short in life. And we're not coming up short in life. Let's go. That's what, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? That's what I need you to know. But this shit is real. It's real, dude. When you win in tight games like this, and you become comfortable and you understand it, you go and win in tight situations in life because you get comfortable and you understand it. These are the reality. It's not just a football game. Right now, right here, we're determining how we're going to spend the rest of our life. That's what I want you to think about on that next damn snap. Now let's go snap that ball. You see what I'm saying? Now let's go snap that ball, baby. And you know, they don't know all of this. But I run exactly the path they want to run. I know this. My job is to tell it to them and give it to them.
Did you imagine that when your Saturdays became available, though, that you would become invested to this degree? I mean, you're on the sideline. You're pouring. Forget about it. If I were to say you're pouring your heart into it, that wouldn't be fair. Like you're pouring your whole soul into this team, this program, these kids. You know, for those 3-4 hours on Saturday afternoon. I mean, like I said, you emerge and you're like, you could tell you're like totally exhausted.
And walking the journey with them, you know, and the words you use is apropos here, pouring up my soul, because my soul leads it. You know, I was part of the guys recruited Mario, brought him in, and brought him in, got him here, and to see this. Stop, man. Let's stop. Well, you know, when you said earlier, I get emotional thinking about it. Well, when you said earlier, wait a minute. That you guys were staying around, spending time in these moments when we're really just kind of playing with our mistress, but waiting on our wife, which is football. See, I'm just spending the time. We're gonna talk a little baseball, basketball. We're gonna do all of this, but we really waiting on the wife. We just doing this till the wife comes, you know. So when you were saying that earlier, that you guys were doing it in all season, I got joy in my heart, because you know what that means? That means we're done with them damn off seasons of saying, oh my God, when will we ever get back to those big games? We already feel that now. We with so many off season, we did that. You know what I mean? You had plenty to talk about in the off season, like, oh my God, Miami just falling so far off, and it's this, and that. It was so many negative. Now, the conversations you're having are the kind of off seasons we want to be having. We're talking about who's the greatest ever, because now we see so much greatness on the field, you know? And I think that's all been built back now. They experienced a championship run last year, and those kids know their lives to change. They'll never be the same. And nothing else will ever show them, give them any form of satiety except playing in a championship game. Nothing else ever will. They've been bidden, and they will always work right back there. And I'm telling you, we're going to have a great team this year, a great team. We did Legends Day a couple 2 weeks ago. Man, that young quarterback, Minshew, with all us legends up there, dog, he came up in the room, shook all our hands. See, I need to see stuff like that.
Yes.
When I see stuff like that, that tells me something. It tells me you understand what came before you, and you understand what you must do going forward. You walked in that room, there's a bunch of champions in that room. You want to be measured correctly. Put your damn championship on the table. That's what it tells me. I can't wait to the season.
He's Cam Ward part 2. I mean,
Cam Ward part 2.
It's
Cam
almost like
Ward part
watching
2.
the same guy, Michael. It's amazing just the
And
way
if
he
Cam Ward would have had this defense, any one of the defenses we had these last 2 years, if Cam would have had it, we would have already had that thing.
last year.
I'm telling you, if Cam would have had it. I tell Cam Ward, I thank him every day. I texted him 2 days ago, we were talking, and I texted him again. I said, man, I told you I appreciate you because I told him this when he left. I said, man, you put us back on the map. You know, what he did, going to get the Heisman, coming from where he came from, the journey he traveled when nobody believed in him, Miami believed, and we woof. That's the soul of who we are. That was the soul that we need to gather back and perpetuate now in this new setting of NILs and everything. Now, every quarterback knows that's what they are about. They're about, guys, put in the work, and you can get to where you want to be. So, yeah, we needed Cam Ward. We couldn't go back into those homes saying Vinny Testaverde. Those too many years had passed.
Many years ago. They don't know who it is.
Right. They don't know. Cam gave us that fresh green card. That's what he gave us.
Yeah, and coming behind Mensa now, there's this kid, Izzy Abrams. Wait till you get your eyes on him. He looks like he's going to be a hell of a prospect. He's coming out of high school, but he's looking very, very good. So, Michael, how do they sustain this, man? How do they sustain this time? Like, you know, we've been here before, obviously, multiple times. How does Mario sustain it this time?
Well, there are a couple of things here. We've been here before, and then the game changed on us. See, when we were here, then they started changing the game and broke down how, you know, there was some recruiting things going on. But now the field level been leveled back off. We can sustain this because the field is leveled on the playing side. I walk on the field. Let me tell you something. When I walk on the field on Saturday, there are 2 things I do first that makes me say we are good. As soon as I walk on the field, the first thing I do is I walk right over with Mario Cristobal and the offensive line on. And I look at Coach. He gives me a nod, like, we had a good week. I'm good. And then I go over and look at Jason Taylor. He'll give me a thumbs up, you know, JT. Like, we ready. I ain't worried about the rest.
Right.
You see, as long as we can measure up on that offensive line, defensive line, we will always measure up in all the other positions. All the skill positions. We got a bevy of that coming in and out of Miami, just like you just mentioned, all of those guys that are in the Hall of Fame. We got plenty of them. We just got to have what Mario gives us with that offensive line and JT gives us with that defensive line. The rest will be history. That's how we will maintain.
You know, you back when you played, there was no social media, things like that. Your personality is what allowed you to build kind of the machine that you were able to create here in South Florida. And I went out with you I tell this story all the time, man. That night I went out with Michael Irvin to Strawberries after the national championship game was the most unbelievable evening of my life.
I remember that. Oh my God.
Oh my God. That was insane, man. Thank you for letting me be a part of that. I'll tell you. It's
Strawberries too.
Strawberries, yes. But I got to tell you something. Yeah, and I know you're in Dallas a lot of the time. You wouldn't believe what's going on down here with Malachi Tony, and the way he has captivated the.
Oh, yes, I would. I know. Oh, I know.
It's unbelievable.
He is a rock star in Miami right now.
Yes.
And I talked about this on my podcast. I told him this. You know, I was like, "Wow, dude, you're going this, dude." I've had the most incredible life. Really, who was I just talking? Derek Harper, D Harp, Derek Harper. You remember? You know D Harp, right? I talked with him later on the show, and I was talking about. I said, "Man, I've had the most incredible life. All my life, I've been around sports." You know, and coming from Miami, growing up in Miami, then playing ball in Miami. And I was talking, man, Malachi's going to have this life. He's going to have a life. He's just, And then I said this, G, you know what? He's so the right person for it. He's such a mature man.
Yes.
Such a mature young man. So far, way beyond his years. Mature, smart, way beyond his years. I told people, I said, man, I wish I could have been that mature at that age. I mean, I I don't even know if I'm that mature at this age. That's how well, Chris, how great and how settled he is. That's what I love about our team the most. Now look, we still bad boys on the field, but look at what represents us. Malachi Tony and Mark Fletcher. You
Yeah.
can't find two better.
No.
I mean, in all of pro college, all kind of any color football, you can't
Yeah.
find two people better to represent than Malachi Tony and Mark Fletcher, man. So yeah, it's amazing what Malachi's doing. It's amazing, and he
Kid,
deserves every bit of it.
the kids are just insane over him. They come out to practice, and you literally need bodyguards to get them from Green Tree to the locker room. I mean, the kids are swarming them. There was a video out the other day from a youth practice where the coach said, "I got Mally on the phone," and the kids went crazy. And it's just so cool. It's so cool to watch. But you mentioned that you were at Legends Camp a couple weeks ago, and you know, obviously we saw you there, and a gleam comes in your eye every year. You show up to that camp every year, no matter what you got going on. You find a way to get to that Legends Camp, and all the players stand out on the field in front of all the kids, and they introduce themselves, and you're appropriately at the end of the line. And when that microphone comes to you, man, like a gleam comes to you, and it's almost like watching you have an out-of-body experience, because you get that 5-10 minutes, just you and that next generation of kids coming up. And these were 2028 recruits that were there this year.
Right.
And it's you and them, and you get to impart your wisdom on them for that 5 minutes. Maybe it stretches to 10, maybe, you know, it's somewhere in there. But you know, it's you and them, man, and you get to talk from the heart, and I can tell that means so much to you.
I love that. You know, we get to do it. I do it. I come down for Paradise Camp too, right? We do it with the younger kids. And here's the great part of it, that a lot of people, even watching us, don't know, you know. Why is he always at the game? Why does he act like it matters so much to him? Like, dude, you know, like some of these kids, you do know, like I coached them at Paradise Camp, then again at Legends Camp. Now to see them on the field at Miami, you know, so it's not like, yeah. This year we did our first, when they had their first practice, you know, first practice. I got to be there. You know, I had to be there. I was moving around some things, and my sister said, you know, I don't know. I said, no, I have to be there. She said, well, they're practicing the next day, right? No, they're practicing the next day. I have to be at the first practice, because I cannot go say something to a kid and he didn't see me at that first practice. You see what I mean? I have to be there. You have to let them know that it matters more to you than just popping into a game and saying something. When I first retired, I used to go around talking to quarterbacks and trying to help them understand leadership, right? And some young quarterbacks, you know, you're put in that position. First thing I used to tell them, I said, what is your off-season plans? And they would tell me, man, as soon as the season over, I put down my stuff, I get away from it. I said, you got to change that. Because first of all, let's do it. Do the numbers. You're going to be making $60 million a year. There'll be some guy on the end of the bench making $500,000 a year. And in the fourth quarter, at the toughest parts of a game, you're going to have to go and get in his ear gate to get something out of him.
Mm-hmm.
You're making $60 million. He's making $500,000. And you haven't said a damn word to him all year. What do you think he's going to say when you come say something to him? You know what he's going to say? Get out of my face. You don't want to make it $60 million. You go win the damn game. You ain't said nothing to me all year. Get out of my face. And he's right if he says that. He's dead ass right. You got to make sure you take that away. He can never question why you are in his face. When you're there for that first practice or in the off season, I tell quarterbacks, you got to go to whatever camp he's doing for free and just show up. You got to show up to some camp he's doing in his hometown in the off season. You show up. Then you got the right to get in his ear in the fourth quarter. But if you don't do that, then don't say that. Come get a guy like me. I'll go get it right because he's going to say exactly what I told you. Get the hell out of my face. I haven't seen you anywhere. That's why it's important that they have to see me.
So no matter where you are, what else you have going on, you make sure you're at that first practice.
They're going to change my schedule.
Yeah.
As soon as they put it out, we gonna fix this schedule, bro. Because it's real. It's real. You know what I mean? It's real. If you made the attempt to be there when I'm sweating, I heard you then. Okay, I know it matters to you. But I don't want your ass to jumping down here after we done won 6, 7, 8, 10 games and start hollering at me like you know what I'm saying? We don't want that. We're not doing that. You got authenticity. It's the one thing that emulates from us more than anything. They just did a study that shows that authenticity. So you got to be authentic with it.
All right, before we let you go, and I recognize this might make you cry again, but what is your greatest Cane memory when you reflect back on all these decades that you've been around the program?
Dude, it's so funny you asked me that, man. I was talking with Worldwide West just the other day, and we were talking about, the Knicks championship and him and Leon Rose and all the work that they've done. And we were talking about when we were in a Super Bowl. We were first at Miami, then him and Leon, we were in the Super Bowl in Atlanta, and they were driving Jimmy Carr up, and all the memories that we were having, man. That's what you remember most. The games, I don't even know what game I would say that sticks out the most. Yeah, I would. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. What moment on the field would stick out the most is that touchdown against Oklahoma winning the championship, and I went into the crowd. That was one of my very best friends, Ricky Dixon, who played at OU, and he and I became great friends when I got drafted here because he lived here in Dallas. Ricky passed from LS. God bless him, rest his soul. But before that, I used to be joking with him. Man, if you play me, I'm going to send you to the Arena League. Of course, he was the 5th pick of the draft. But that play in the corner of the end zone and that picture of him on the ground and I'm doing this and I'm headed to the stands. And yeah, that was the moment for me in college football that I would say the one play that sticks out more than anything. That championship. And it was in Miami, and that was the game-sealing touchdown.
Very cool. Well, listen, Mike, thank you for spending this time, and congratulations. This is just a silly little exercise we went through this summer, but the fact that you came out the way you did, it could have been anything. I mean, there was just no doubt about the outcome, and it's a testament to everything you've done in your life, not just as a player, not just as that high school kid that I talked about that walked onto Green Tree, and you could tell he was going to be great because of how badly he wanted to be great and how he was going to tell you that he was great along the way. But, everything you're doing now, I mean, even just, being at the first practice, being at Legends Camp, showing up at every game, being inspiration for those kids. Sometimes they got to hear it from somebody other than their coaches. I mean, it's no different than being a parent. It's like anybody but dad. Anybody but dad. I mean,
I learned that too, G. I learned when my son, when Michael was playing receiver, I would be giving him things, telling him things, and every year, Larry Fitzgerald would bring me to Minnesota, and I would stay a week and coach him and all the other NFL players. And I would take Michael and Elijah. And I this is where I figured exactly right. I was like, I go, and Larry said something to Michael, and he's like, I get it. And I'm like, I said, come on, son. I told you the same stuff. You act like you didn't listen to me. You like that? That's laughing. I know. He's paying me to come coach him. What? I'm giving it to you for free. He's bringing me in, but they don't get it. It's like you're just dad, So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. That's how it works sometimes. Sometimes you're just dad, and sometimes you're coach. Let me hear from somebody else, and I don't mind being that somebody else.
All right, Mike. Well, thanks again. And hey, we'll see you in a few weeks at that first practice.
We will see you now, Nick. Now listen. This is the one thing I will throw into your equation on this assessment, though I am I'm just so ecstatically taking this win. I suppose put out there last year, if he had completed it, where would he be placed amongst those players? Because if it's all your accomplishments, because it's not just what I did on the football field, it's the personality, it's everything, it's what I'm doing after the career. What if Mario leads us to that next championship? What if he, as a coach, leads us to 2 championships? See, that's just gonna move Mario way on up now.
You'll have some competition.
I was ready to put Mario on the Mount Rushmore last year if he won the championship. So if he comes back this year, we just have to keep this conversation moving. That's what we're gonna have to do, buddy.
We'll
Have to
keep that in
it moving.
mind.
I appreciate you guys.
All
I
right.
appreciate you, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We'll see you in a few weeks.
All right, guys.
Thank you, man. And that concludes Good Morning CaneSport for today. Thank you so much for starting out your day with us. Thank you to Michael Irvin for taking the time to sit down with us. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, it's that time of year, man. Head on over to our site, become part of our great fan community. We have football season coming up. You won't be sorry. So thanks again for starting out your day, everybody, and we'll see you next time.